Imagine waking up every morning knowing that nothing, not fear, not failure, not even the toughest challenges, can stop you from moving forward. If I told you there are 7 simple habits that once mastered can make you unstoppable in any area of life, a relentless learning mindset is one of the most powerful forces that can make a man truly unstoppable, because it is the habit that feeds all other habits. The world never stands still. Technology changes, industries evolve, and the rules of success shift faster than ever before. Who think they know enough eventually get left behind. But those who approach each day with the hunger to learn, to improve, and to expand their understanding stay ahead no matter how the environment changes. This mindset is not just about reading books or taking courses. It's about curiosity as a way of life. It's about seeing every experience as an opportunity to gain insight, every challenge as a lesson in disguise, and every person you meet as someone who can teach you something valuable. People with this mindset don't wait for knowledge to come to them. They actively search for it. They don't settle for what is comfortable. They seek what is unfamiliar because they know growth lies outside the boundaries of what they already know. They understand that learning is not an event. It's a lifelong journey. They are not afraid to be the least knowledgeable person in the room because they see it as a privilege to be surrounded by those who can teach them something new. This humility allows them to absorb information and adapt quickly. Others are still defending their egos. The relentless learner treats learning like a daily workout for the mind. Just as the body grows stronger with exercise, the mind grows sharper with consistent intellectual challenge. It could be reading for an hour a day, listening to insightful podcasts during commutes, practicing a new skill during the evenings, or simply asking better questions in every conversation. This habit builds a mental library that compounds over time. And compounding knowledge is even more powerful than compounding money, because the more you learn, the better you become at learning, and the faster you can adapt to new opportunities. When challenges appear, the person with a learning mindset does not panic. Instead of saying, "I don't know how," they say, "I don't know how yet." That single word, yet, is the difference between giving up and breaking through. They believe that with enough study, practice, and experimentation, they can figure out almost anything. This belief is what turns ordinary men into innovators, leaders, and problem solvers. The moment you commit to never stop learning is the moment you remove limits from your future. In this age, information is everywhere, but wisdom is rare. A relentless learner knows the difference between collecting facts and developing understanding. They go beyond surface knowledge to grasp the principles that drive success. They experiment, test ideas, and learn from results. They also learn from others' mistakes so they don't have to repeat them. This mindset allows them to stay relevant when others fade away, because while others cling to old ways of thinking, they are already mastering the next one. They also understand that learning is not only about professional growth, it's about becoming a better human being. They learn to improve their health, their relationships, their emotional intelligence, and their communication skills. They see every area of life as interconnected, so progress in one area benefits all the rest. Over time, this habit creates a man who is adaptable, resourceful, and confident in his ability to handle whatever comes next. The world will always reward those who can learn faster than the challenges that appear. And when you make learning not just something you do, but something you are, you become a man who is impossible to stop. Turning failure into fuel is one of the defining traits that separate men who give up from men who become unstoppable. Life will test you. Tests often come in the form of failure. Most people see failure as a signal to stop, as proof that they are not capable enough. The men who rise to greatness see failure differently. They see it as a teacher, a guide, and sometimes even a blessing in disguise. They understand that success is not a straight road. It is a winding path filled with wrong turns, dead ends, and unexpected obstacles. Every mistake, every setback, Every loss carries within it the seed of improvement, if you are willing to look for it. When a man turns failure into fuel, he does not deny the pain or frustration it brings. He acknowledges it, but instead of letting it weaken him, he channels that energy into determination. This shift in perspective is powerful. Rather than asking, "Why did this happen to me?" he asks, "What is this trying to teach me?" That question changes everything. It moves him from being a victim of his circumstances to being a student of them. The moment you see failure as feedback, it becomes a stepping stone instead of a wall. Great achievements often have a history of failure behind them. The man who wins in the end is rarely the one who had a perfect plan from the start. He is the one who was willing to try, fall, learn, and try again. Every failure sharpens his understanding of what works and what doesn't. Over time, this process builds resilience, resourcefulness, and creativity. He learns how to adapt when things don't go as expected, and this adaptability becomes one of his greatest strengths. In a world where change is constant, the ability to bounce back and adjust quickly is an unmatched advantage. The unstoppable man also understands that failure is a sign he is pushing his limits. If you never fail, it means you are not taking enough risks. Playing it safe might keep you comfortable, but it will also keep you small. Stepping into the unknown means you will sometimes stumble, but each stumble carries a lesson that cannot be learned from comfort. The courage to embrace failure as part of the journey is what separates the dreamers from the doers. When failure strikes, most people let it crush their confidence. The man who uses failure as fuel lets it strengthen his self-belief. He understands that failure does not mean he is incapable. It simply means he is still in the process of becoming capable. Every setback becomes a reminder that he is still in the fight, still learning, still improving. Over time, these moments of falling and rising again build an unshakable inner strength. Turning failure into fuel also means refusing to let fear of failure stop you from taking action in the first place. The man with this habit knows that waiting for the perfect conditions is just a way of avoiding risk. He takes calculated risks, knowing that even if things go wrong, he will gain valuable knowledge that will make the next attempt better. In this way, failure stops being something to fear. It becomes a necessary ingredient for success. By embracing failure as part of the process, he removes its power to paralyze him. Instead of feeling ashamed when things don't work out, he feels motivated to try again with better insight. This mindset transforms setbacks into momentum. And when a man learns to move forward no matter how many times he falls, there is nothing in the world that can keep him from reaching his destination. Unshakable discipline is the foundation on which unstoppable men build their success. Talent, intelligence, and opportunity can open doors, but without discipline, none of them can be sustained. Discipline is the ability to do what needs to be done. When you don't feel like doing it, it is showing up consistently, keeping promises to yourself, and staying committed to your goals long after the excitement has faded. Many people start strong when motivation is high, but as soon as the mood changes or the work becomes boring, they stop. The man with unshakable discipline keeps moving forward regardless of his feelings. He understands that progress comes from consistency, not occasional bursts of effort. Kind of discipline is not built overnight. It is forged through small, daily decisions that, over time, become habits. Waking up early to work on your craft, following through on a training routine, staying focused on a project when distractions are calling. These are not glamorous moments. They are the ones that create long-term results. Discipline means putting in the work today without needing to see immediate rewards because you trust the process. It means doing the right thing when no one is watching because you are accountable to yourself first. A disciplined man does not rely on motivation because he knows it is unreliable. Motivation comes and goes, but discipline is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it. He creates systems and routines that make it easier to stay on track. For example, instead of relying on willpower alone, He sets up his environment for success, removing distractions, planning his day, and preparing in advance so that action becomes automatic. This removes the constant decision making that can drain energy and makes discipline a natural part of his life. Discipline also requires saying no. No to distractions, to shortcuts, and no to temporary pleasures that compromise long-term goals. This is where many people struggle because it means resisting the easy option in favor of the harder but more rewarding path. A man with discipline understands that every choice is a vote for the future he wants. Skipping a workout might not seem like a big deal today, but over time, small compromises accumulate into lost opportunities. Discipline is about keeping those promises to yourself, even when it would be easier not to. The truly disciplined man also knows how to manage his time with precision. He treats time as his most valuable asset because once it is gone, it cannot be recovered. This means prioritizing what matters most and cutting out what adds no value. He is not swayed by the pressure of other people's opinions or the temptation of instant gratification. Instead, he stays aligned with his vision, using discipline as the guardrail that keeps him on the right path. When challenges appear, discipline keeps him grounded. It gives him the ability to keep going when things are uncertain or progress is slow. Many people quit because they can't see results quickly enough. The man with discipline stays patient, knowing that consistent effort compounds over time. He trusts that every step, no matter how small, is moving him closer to his goal. Unshakable discipline is also a form of self-respect. It is proof that you can trust yourself to follow through on your commitments. When a man keeps his word to himself, he builds confidence, and that confidence fuels even greater achievements. Over time, this discipline becomes part of his identity. He doesn't just act disciplined. He becomes a disciplined man, and once discipline becomes part of who you are, you can weather any storm, overcome any obstacle, and continue moving forward no matter what stands in your way. Mastering emotional control is a habit that turns an ordinary man into one who cannot be shaken by the storms of life. In a world filled with pressure, uncertainty, and constant challenges, emotions can either be your greatest ally or your biggest enemy. Many men fail not because they lack skills or opportunities, but because they allow anger, fear, frustration, or doubt to take control of their decisions. A man who masters emotional control learns how to respond instead of react. He understands that while emotions are natural, they should not dictate his actions. He knows that the calmest mind often wins in the most chaotic situations. Emotional control does not mean suppressing or ignoring feelings. It means acknowledging them and choosing a measured response. The disciplined man accepts that feelings like anger or disappointment will arise, but he pauses before acting on them. This pause is powerful. It allows him to evaluate the situation with clarity rather than impulse. Instead of making a decision in the heat of the moment and regretting it later, he makes choices that align with his long-term vision. This level of self-control prevents unnecessary conflicts, protects relationships, and ensures that he remains focused on solutions rather than problems. A man with emotional control also understands the importance of staying calm under pressure. Will present moments where everything seems to be going wrong. Business failures, personal losses, betrayals, or unexpected challenges. Most people panic in these situations, making them even worse. But the man who can keep a steady mind during chaos becomes a leader others look to for guidance. His composure gives him the ability to think clearly, adapt quickly, and make sound decisions while others are consumed by fear. This calm presence is not only a strength in business or leadership, but also in everyday life, where situations often test patience and resilience. Controlling emotions also means refusing to let negativity take root. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you feed it will grow. If a man feeds anger, self-pity, or jealousy, it will eventually consume him. But if he chooses to feed gratitude, patience, and optimism, he becomes mentally unbreakable. Emotional control is the skill of redirecting energy away from destructive feelings toward productive actions. It is about asking, can I do right now that will move me forward, instead of dwelling on what went wrong? This habit also plays a huge role in relationships. Whether it's with family, friends, colleagues, or a partner, emotional control allows a man to communicate effectively without letting pride or ego get in the way. He learns to listen more than he speaks, to understand before judging, and to address conflict without escalating it. This builds trust and respect, qualities that are essential for any long-term success, personally and professionally. Mastering emotional control requires constant practice. It comes from being self-aware, from recognizing emotional triggers and developing strategies to handle them. It might mean taking a deep breath before responding, stepping away from a heated situation, channeling energy into physical activity or creative work. Over time, these practices build a level of self-mastery that allows a man to face challenges without losing his center. A man can control his emotions. He becomes harder to manipulate. Criticism does not break him, praise does not inflate him, and fear does not paralyze him. He operates from a place of stability rather than emotional chaos. This balance allows him to make consistent progress toward his goals, no matter what happens around him. Emotional control is not about being cold or detached. It is about having the strength to remain steady in a world that constantly tries to throw you off balance. Once mastered, becomes one of the most powerful tools a man can possess. Building strong networks is a habit that can multiply a man's opportunities, resources, influence beyond what he could achieve alone. No matter how skilled, disciplined, or intelligent a man may be, there are limits to what he can accomplish by himself. Successful men in history and in the present understand that relationships are the bridges to bigger possibilities. A strong network is not simply a collection of contacts. It is a community of people who trust, respect, and support one another. This kind of network doesn't just appear overnight. It is built intentionally with patience, authenticity, and mutual value. A man who prioritizes building strong networks approaches every interaction as an opportunity to create genuine connections, not just to seek personal gain. He understands that the most valuable relationships are built on trust, and trust comes from consistently showing integrity, reliability, and respect. Instead of approaching people only when he needs something, he invests in relationships long before he needs them. This means offering help, sharing knowledge, and celebrating the success of others without expecting anything in return. Over time, these actions create a reputation that attracts people who are equally committed to growth and collaboration. Strong networks also expand a man's perspective. You surround yourself with people from diverse backgrounds, industries, and experiences. You gain access to new ideas and insights you would never discover on your own. These connections can challenge your thinking, inspire creative solutions, and open doors to opportunities that would otherwise remain hidden. A man with a strong network doesn't just collect contacts. He builds relationships with people who encourage him to aim higher and think bigger. In moments of challenge, a strong network can be a source of resilience. When setbacks occur, having people who believe in you, offer guidance, provide resources can make the difference between giving up and pushing forward. This is why relationships should never be treated as optional. They are a vital part of any long-term success strategy. A man who invests in his network has a safety net of wisdom, encouragement, and collaboration that can carry him through difficult times. Building a powerful network also requires the skill of being a good communicator. Listening actively, asking meaningful questions, and showing genuine interest in others creates deeper bonds than shallow small talk ever could. People remember how you make them feel. When you make them feel valued, respected, and heard, they are far more likely to invest in the relationship as well. Communication in strong networks is built on clarity, empathy, and honesty because these qualities sustain trust over the long run. Another important part of networking is the ability to connect people with each other. A man who introduces others to opportunities, partnerships, or friendships becomes a valuable connector in his community. When you help others succeed, they naturally want to see you succeed as well. This creates a cycle of goodwill that strengthens the entire network. Instead of competing with everyone, the man who builds strong networks collaborates, understanding that shared success often leads to greater rewards for all involved. The habit of building strong networks also demands consistency. You cannot form a strong bond with someone if you only speak to them once every few years. Staying in touch, checking in, and offering value consistently keeps relationships alive. Even small gestures, such as congratulating someone on their achievements or sharing relevant information, can strengthen a connection over time. When a man commits to building strong networks, he stops trying to be a lone warrior and instead becomes part of a powerful alliance of driven, resourceful people. These connections give him access to knowledge, resources, and opportunities that he could never achieve in isolation. In a world where success often depends on who you know as much as what you know, a strong network can be the force that makes a man truly unstoppable. Vision-driven action is the habit that transforms effort into achievement and keeps a man moving forward when others lose their way. A clear vision acts like a compass. It gives direction, purpose, and meaning to everything you do. Without it, even hard work can feel aimless, and energy can be wasted on things that lead nowhere. A man with vision knows exactly what he wants to create, the kind of life he wants to live, legacy he wants to leave behind. This clarity becomes the fuel that powers his actions, especially when the path gets difficult. Having vision is not the same as having vague dreams or wishes. A dream is something you hope will happen. A vision is something you commit to making real. The difference is in the level of detail and belief. Vision-driven men see their goals in such vivid detail that they can almost touch them. They know what success will look like, sound like, and feel like. This mental picture creates a deep emotional connection that keeps them motivated even when progress is slow. Because their vision is strong, they can endure the discomfort, setbacks, and sacrifices required to reach it. Once the vision is clear, the next step is action. Without action, vision remains just a picture in the mind. Vision-driven action means aligning your daily habits and decisions with the future you want to create. Every choice becomes a step toward that vision, no matter how small. This requires discipline to say no to distractions that pull you off course, and courage to take steps that may be uncertain or uncomfortable. The man who acts on his vision doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He moves forward with what he has. That clarity often comes through movement, not before it. Vision-driven action also provides resilience during challenges. When obstacles appear, easy to lose motivation if you're only working for short-term rewards. But if your actions are tied to a larger vision, you have a reason to keep going when things get hard. The vision becomes the why that sustains the how. Even when the immediate outcome is unclear, the man with vision trusts that each step is part of a bigger picture. Mindset allows him to push through failures, adapt to changes, and find new ways forward. Another strength of vision-driven action is that it creates focus. In a world full of distractions, it is easy to be pulled in many directions. A man without vision often says yes to everything, spreading his time and energy too thin. A man with vision knows where he is headed, so he can prioritize what truly matters and let go of what doesn't serve his purpose. This focus allows him to make faster decisions and progress more efficiently than those who are constantly switching paths. Vision also has a magnetic quality. It attracts opportunities, people, and resources that align with it. When a man speaks and acts with conviction about where he is going, others are drawn to his clarity and confidence. This often leads to collaborations and support that accelerate progress. People want to be part of something bigger than themselves, and a man with a strong vision naturally inspires them to join his mission. Living with vision-driven action requires regular reflection. The world changes, and so do personal circumstances. A man must revisit and refine his vision to make sure it still reflects who he is and where he wants to go. This doesn't mean abandoning the vision. It means making it even sharper and more relevant. When vision and action work together, they create unstoppable momentum. The vision provides direction, the action creates movement. Together, they turn possibilities into realities. A man who lives this way is not just busy. He is building something meaningful, step by step, till the life he envisioned becomes the life he is living. These 7 habits are not quick tricks or temporary boosts. They are a way of living that shapes who you become. You commit to relentless learning, turn failure into fuel, practice unshakable discipline, master your emotions, build powerful networks, and take vision-driven action. You stop depending on luck or circumstance. You create your own momentum, your own opportunities, and your own success. The world will always throw obstacles in your path. With these habits ingrained into your character, nothing can truly hold you back. You won't just survive challenges, you'll rise because of them. And when that happens, you don't just achieve your goals, you become the kind of man others look to as proof that being unstoppable is not about what you have, about who you choose to be every single day.